What's up guys? So today I want to talk about the things that ZeniMax should be adding to ESO in the future, and some of these things are going to be things that they've already said they're going to add, and then some of these things are going to be things that I think they should add. These are also going to be some things that I think need fixed with the game, so I'm going to go right into it. Alright, so the first thing that they need to fucking fix, like ASAP, is PvP. Now, I'm sitting here in Cyrodiil, and there are two problems with PvP. Well, there's more problems than two, but there's two big problems with PvP right now. The first one being everybody's running pretty much the same sets in PvP to be viable, and that's proc sets. I'm going to be making a separate video on what I think they should do with proc sets and how they should be balanced. But they're a big issue right now. Everybody's running proc sets with heavy armor because you can just do the damage with the heavy armor and it doesn't even matter. The other big issue is Zergs. Right now, this little tiny area right here in the middle is pretty much the only place that's being used for PvP, and there's constantly just Zergs. There's no small battles anymore. No one goes on these outskirts right here. Nothing. It's just constant zerging, and that's why I spend a lot of time in Imperial City. But the problem with Imperial City is most of the time it's completely dead. Everybody's in these zergs for some reason. And look, you can even see the battles going on right now. There was one going on here. There's one in Bruma. Surprisingly, there's one down here. I don't know how DC got all the way down here or why, and they just kind of skipped the castle, but yeah, it's just this middle part right here being used. There's not much else. Now, that brings me to my next thing. They've announced that they are going to be doing Battlegrounds and Arena in the future. They announced it at the same time they announced Dueling, and as you guys know, Dueling is in the game now. So what can they do with Battlegrounds and Arenas? Well, they can use the outskirts of the map to put the arenas and Battlegrounds at. Yeah, I'd rather it be instanced, but this needs to be used. These areas need to be used in Cyrodiil for something. So if they don't want to make it completely instanced to where you can queue outside of the PvP area, then they can make the actual areas inside of Cyrodiil on the outskirts. They can put Battlegrounds and Arenas on there. So I'm going to talk about my next. So some of you guys know that there are vendors that come out every weekend for PvE gear that you can buy in Cyrodiil for either gold or alliance points. Now, there are some people that just don't like doing PvE, such as myself. So I think they need to have that vendor permanent and just have the items that switch in it every week, so that people can easier access it. And I think they need to drop the prices down a little bit and maybe add a couple items. They can keep the gold items really high cost. The monster helms being high cost but a little bit lower than what they are now, and then adding maybe one or two other sets, and then just rotating them every week. I think that would help out a lot for the players that don't like to do PvE in order to get their PvP gear. So that's all I got to say about that one. That's kind of just a quality of life type thing, but that's a non-issue for the most part. Now, the next thing that I really think needs to be updated is the stat sheets. Now, there's a lot of hidden elements in the stat sheets, and for those of us that like the Theorycraft, that's kind of an issue. So your weapon damage and all that and your abilities scale off your max magicka, max stamina, but don't quote me on this. I'm not too sure if it actually does scale or not, but I'm pretty sure it's actually hidden. And then there's a lot of items that, or a lot of armor that actually has hidden stats behind it as well, and it would be very nice to actually see those stats on the stat sheet. On top of that, when you're using Divine's gear, you can't see how much your Mundus Stone is being increased by that Divine's gear. So it would be nice to, you know, have those types of things, such as weapon crit damage, and then some of the other hidden elements. That it would be nice to have them on the stat sheet, so that those of us that like the Theorycraft could actually use that information and number crunch a little bit more than we can now. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is the bank. Now I've not had the money to actually maximize my bank space yet. I've been using a lot of cash on builds for, to make you guys videos, which are coming out soon. But I've gotten to the point now where I've had to delete some of my gear, and it's getting really annoying. What they need to add is something similar to Diablo 3, where there's like bank tabs or chest tabs or whatever that is called in Diablo. But we need more space. I hear some of the players that have been playing for a long time saying they don't have near enough space in their bank, and they're having to create new characters to actually hold items on. And that's kind of ridiculous when they could just... I'm sure this would be pretty easy to implement, where they can just make more space in the bank for us to store items. Another thing that would be helpful for the bank is an organization type thing, where you can put gear in one slot, you can put potions in another, you can put extra stuff in another. That would be very helpful if I was able to organize my bank a little bit better than what it is. Right now I've just got this filter that I can type in what I need, so that's kind of I'd rather be more organized than that. So that's just a minor gripe, but I think it's something that could be really important. Now the last thing that I think they should add into the game is jewel crafting and spell crafting. That would add a lot more depth to crafting, and I think it would get a lot more players interested in it, at least in the spell crafting sense. Jewel crafting would be useful so that you could gold out your jewelry, and you could create jewelry for some of the crafted sets that you're not currently able to. Spellcrafting would add another layer of depth to builds and would make the game that much more interesting by being able to create a completely unique spell for your character. I'm sure they wouldn't be able to make it to where there's like thousands and thousands of combinations, but even having like 100, 200 different combinations that you could put into a spell still gives it a lot more depth to your character customization. Now I'm not going to complain about character customization, because this MMO actually has some of the best character customization out of any MMO, so that's just another minor thing, but these are two things that they have said that they eventually want to implement in the game, and I hope they start coming out with some of this stuff sooner than later. My biggest thing, I want the PvP fixed, and I want Battlegrounds and Arenas to come out. I would absolutely love to do Battlegrounds and Arenas. I'd do them all fucking day long. I would make tons and tons of content for you guys to see. But yeah, that's pretty much my top things that I think they should do with the game right now. There's plenty of other stuff that they could do. There's a lot of bugs that still need to be fixed. But for right now, that's my top. That's my top, what, 6, I think? So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, comment, like, and check out some of my other videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.